Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Raw is Jericho! Hell yeah! Get some
You will rest in peace.
The whole world will acknowledge me.
Oh, what is up? It is Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for your daily dose of the Rasslin Addicts. Nick, what's up? How's it going? I do not hear you, unfortunately. I'm very...
Well, my mic was muted.
There we go. Nick just came from Dr. Isaac Yankum, and guy has a longer streak than The Undertaker right now. 29 straight years of not one cavity. Guy's a longer streak than Roman Reigns right now.
Actually, I've never had a cavity in my life.
Whoa.
But I've only had these teeth for 29 years, right? Because you have baby teeth and then...
Right.
So I only say 29 years because who knows if I would have had those original teeth forever. First of all, I'd look really weird.
Yeah, that will look weird.
But second of all, I don't want to claim them because I don't have them anymore.
That's right.
But who's that other guy in your intro?
Oh, that guy. I don't know who that guy is. Haven't seen that guy. It's been 84 years since I've seen him. But someone else we haven't seen in quite some time made his return and is starting some controversy, and that is The Rock. So
I believe he just goes by Dwayne these days.
Dwayne, Mr. Johnson.
DJ.
A couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, around, let's say, was the Royal Rumble. You were here. You were in the basement for the Rumble, and I tweeted about it. I said it nonstop. I said either The Rock is going to be number 30 and win the Rumble, or he's going to confront Roman Reigns after his Fatal 4-Way match to set something up. Those two ideas made sense. What they did after that, not so much.
I honestly thought that they were going to have some. I thought it was going to be a triple threat, and I guess that it still could be to this point. It still could be conceivably a triple threat. But I legitimately thought that it was going to be a situation where somehow, some way, The Rock was going to just fight his way into the WrestleMania event. I really did sit there and I was like, yeah, they're totally gonna do that. But doesn't always work out the way you think it's gonna work out. But I really did. I thought it was gonna I thought it was gonna be a triple threat match somehow, some way, for some reason. I don't know. Or it was gonna be Cody versus Roman, Rock special guest. And then we were all kind of sitting there going, okay, does he go with the bloodline or does he turn babyface and go with Cody? And because I think that's a more compelling storyline where you think that The Rock is almost like Shawn, like a little tip of the hat of Shawn versus Austin with Tyson as special guest referee. Like a little nod to that, kind of, a little bit. Where you're like, oh, Tyson's wearing a D-Generation X shirt, and then he turns on Shawn, and Austin wins.
I have so many different feelings about this. All can't be from one torn tricep from CM Punk.
No,
because I feel that up until Cody won the Rumble, that the game plan was going to be Punk and Rollins, Gunther and Brock, but Brock has been linked to this whole Vince McMahon saga.
Yeah,
So they pulled Brock from the Rumble. They pulled Brock from Mania. They took him off the cover of 2K24. So it seems Brock is just not happening. And then it was supposed to be Roman and Cody. So I guess those two, listen, whether you like them or not, I know you don't like Punk or Brock, they're gigantic names for WrestleMania, and their names being attached just leads to big matches, especially with it being 2 nights. You need all the star power you can get, and you know,
let's be clear. I it's not that I dislike Punk. All right, it's the same thing, the same kind of heat I get with freaking Taylor Swift. I don't dislike Punk, and I don't dislike Taylor. I just don't find them to be all that interesting. Like, that's all. It's not that they're bad. They're not bad. It's just that there's nothing special about them in my view. To me, Punk is a skinny version of Eddie Kingston, a mark that became a star. Well, Eddie Kingston not so much. He's just a mark. But you know, Punk is a mark that became a star, and he is the people's champion because the people are a bunch of marks.
He looks, even, you know, take away the tattoos, you know, he just looks like an everyday guy.
I saw a picture of him with Davey Boy from like 1998.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's a mark. He is a mark. Like, here we are 26 years later or something like that, and he still doesn't have like an ounce of muscle on him.
And that's like when he met Austin too. He had like the blonde spiked hair, you know, probably the Jenko
David
jeans.
Arquette.
Yeah.
He's David Arquette in Ready to Rumble.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my God, he is David Arquette's character in Ready to Rumble. He's a mark that became like a part of the show.
Like, so like for me with Punk, it's gonna sound so silly, but it was like my dislike for him was on a personal level for the interaction when I met him. Like, I liked
I can respect that.
You know, like for me, like, and I'm not that type of mark that's gonna run up with, oh my God, sign this for me, or like, I don't care what you sign. All I need is a quick picture. That's it. I don't need your autograph. If I want your autograph, I'll go on eBay or I'll go to a sign-in. But if I catch you on the street, dude, all I want to do is say hello, grab a picture. I'm not like these idiots in the airport who are stalking everybody that have a bag filled with 45 Funkos and want everyone to sign them.
Crazy.
Like that, to me, that's just bonkers. Even, you know, after WrestleMania in New Orleans, when I was in the airport, I saw a bunch of wrestlers going by. I saw Bubba, I saw Mean Gene, Trish, Ric Flair, and like I didn't want autographs. I just wanted to say hi. Hi, I'm a fan. Thanks for the memories. Can I just take a quick picture?
Well, you know, it's so funny. Nash just talked about that.
What did you say?
Nash just talked about on his show with his other friend Sean, because apparently all of Nash's friends are named Sean. He just said, like, oh, we ran into the 3 types of mark. There's the overzealous mark, the guy who was so drunk that he was like, oh my God, I love you. And we were having a business meeting and totally interrupted our meeting. He goes, there's the underzealous mark who was like, aren't you, what did he say? Aren't you Steve Nash?
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm not. He's like a 6'2" Canadian. I'm a 6'11" American. I'm Kevin Nash. And he's like, oh, yeah, I love you, man. And then you got the appropriate mark, right? The guy comes over, gives Nash a beer and says, Mr. Nash, I just wanted to say thank you because you made tough parts of my childhood better. And that was, and Nash even said, like, that's the best kind of fan that, you know, they had an effect and they thank you for it, but it's not crazy. You know, it's not like interrupting your life or whatever. Like, he was respectful. He came by, even got me a beer. Nice guy. Like, he didn't have to do that. He's like, but it was awesome.
Yeah, and like, you know what? I guess when you're younger or when you're just delusional,
or
you
drunk.
don't. Or, you know what? I wouldn't even say drunk. It's more so of like the fans that think it's real, or think that I'm pointing because I have the TV on, or they think
So
that
you're
hey,
pointing at
they
the
owe me
WrestleMania
something,
sign.
or it's like they owe me something. They don't owe you anything.
You were entertained when you watched. They paid their debt.
Right. When they're not in the ring, they're not that person. They're me and you just trying to move on with their day. Don't hinder them. Don't be disrespectful. So the fact that I was respectful to Punk and he was a dick to me, for a long time, I was like, fuck this guy. But then, he came back to AEW, and I don't watch AEW. It's just not, I'm not going to shit on it unless it's something I'm like, okay, wow, that's bad. But like when he came back, I was genuinely interested to see like what was happening. Like, what was he going to do? And then he had all that drama. And even with all that drama, I never thought he would come back to WWE.
You know what's crazy?
I never thought.
You want to know why I never watched AEW? I mean, I when AEW started off, I did watch it. Do you know why I stopped? When they decided Cody was never going to be champion.
Yeah.
That's when I turned it off. It's not that I turned it off. I just lost interest, and it kind of waned for me. And I understand why they did that. They didn't want it to be a situation where he is the president or whatever the position he held within their production. And he's also he didn't want to pull a Hogan, basically.
Right.
Where he's got creative control, and he's also got the belt.
He booked himself into a corner with that stipulation that he could never, ever, ever. But you know what? Listen, it worked out because I don't think Cody would have reached this level that he's at now in AEW. It's WWE's. It's a bigger stage. It's a bigger and it's a better presentation to where it looks real deal. Like it looks legit.
It is real deal, but I'll tell you right now, it's too Disney for me. Not that AEW's any better because I don't like guys like John Moxley just cutting people with pizza cutters and like that. To me, that's ECW shit, and it's not wrestling. It's just gore for the sake of gore. It's not wrestling. It's
right.
You're unimpressive as a wrestler when you can't do wrestling moves. When all you can do is hit people with chairs and bamboo sticks and fucking crack beer cans on your forehead and cut people with pizza slicers, like that's not wrestling. Come on now. Yeah. I'm a big guy where it's like it's gotta be. I'm like you hear a lot of I'm okay with it if it makes sense, right?
Yes. Thank you for saying that.
And then if it makes sense, and I'll tell you what makes sense because some people will be like, oh, Rey Mysterio being heavyweight champion doesn't make sense. And I always say it makes sense the way he did it. If he goes into the ring, and this is partially why I don't like guys like Punk. I don't like guys like Daniel Bryan. I don't like guys like Bret Hart. They wrestle like they're 260 pounds.
Right.
They wrestle like an Olympic wrestler at 255, 6'2", at 6'3", and they're not that big. So it's like, dude, your punch to somebody like, well, I'm aging myself, but to somebody like Kane or the Big Show or something like that, it's not the same punch, man. Like your punch doesn't mean dick to them. You have to throw your entire body. Like I remember Shawn doing forearm smashes and it only meaning anything because he jumped halfway across the ring and he's 200 pounds. If he's 195 pounds, he puts 190 pounds behind that forearm smash as he bounces off the ropes and hits the guy. But he for the most part, he's not throwing blows at Sid.
Right.
But Bret Hart would do stupid shit like that. Bret Hart would sit there and do leg takedowns on fucking somebody 8 inches taller than him or 200 pounds heavier. And the same thing with Punk. Punk's GTS is a stupid move. It's literally a knee to the face. You're not tall enough for the drop off your shoulders to mean that much, especially when you're talking about a guy who's 6 inches taller than you are.
A guy like Punk's size needs a finisher like the RKO that you could do on anybody.
Or like Sweet Chin Music.
Right. And
they always say that the best finishers are the ones that you do on anyone, which is why Jericho had to switch the Lion Tamer to the Walls of Jericho, right? It was an inclined Boston Crab, and now it's just a traditional Boston Crab because one day he went to go do it to Big Show and he couldn't do it.
Right.
So he switched it.
And that's why he came up with the Code Breaker.
That too.
You know, and
That
even
too.
like the lion salt that he did. You know, these are moves you could do on anybody. But to go back with what you were saying, like it has to make sense, and
This storyline doesn't.
it's the. I talked about it on Saturday because after the Rumble was done, I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm okay with not having The Rock. We got Cody. Cody's gonna challenge Roman.
Finish
I'm
the
okay
story.
with that. Right. And that's because The Rock wasn't on the table. So I didn't watch SmackDown Live. I watched it like an hour later. I was in my kitchen. I was snacking. The wife was sleeping. I'm watching it on my phone on YouTube TV. And then once Cody said, I want to take. First of all, the way Cody started the promo didn't make sense with how this segment finished.
By the way, I was in a bar when that promo was going on, and me and my buddy are sitting next to each other at the bar, and all we had was captions, and they were very intermittent because it's live.
Yeah.
It was so hard to follow along with that promo until the next day. And we're sitting there counting the minutes when Roman came out going, 3 minutes and 40 seconds. He hasn't said a fucking word yet. 10 minutes left in this program. What's going to happen? And you just robbed us of 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
Roman's promo when he first came out was great. He buried the shit out of Seth Rollins. He annihilated him, and it was hilarious. It was funny, and it was all true and on point. Then Cody comes out. Cody pretty much was like, I had you last year. You cheated me. I had you in a spot that no one you faced since you won that title has had you, and you know that. And then he goes on to say that he's going to move his goalpost back. That he wants to take everything from you, but it's not going to be at WrestleMania. Then you know what?
The only place to friggin' do it.
What was the fucking point? What was the point? Like, he wins the Rumble back-to-back. First time it hasn't been done since Austin. He's one of 4. Hogan, Michaels, Austin, Cody. Wow. That's like the Mount Rushmore of Royal Rumble right there.
That's special company. Very special company.
Right. And listen, I get it. You know, I guess Punk and Brock really, really fucked things up to the point to where they had to, you know, pivot the way they did. And I love The Rock. I am a huge Rock fan. I've been calling for The Rock to come back since the 2021 Survivor Series in Barclays, when it was The Rock's 25th anniversary. They kept mentioning him. They kept talking about him. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, he's going to come out and confront Roman. Never happened. Then The Rock would make his bullshit appearances where he's, you know, confronting, you know, Austin Theory or Jinder Mahal. And it's like, dude, you're coming back all these times and you're not confronting the one guy you should be confronting, your cousin, Roman Reigns. This match has been talked about for almost 3 years.
I've tweeted it a dozen times. I'll say it right here live. If him and his cousins weren't NOI, their last name wasn't NOI, they'd be jobbers at TNA with all 6 of their combined moves. I take it back 5 because their twins use the exact same moveset. All 5 of their combined moves. Like there's no, other than WWE pushing these guys down our throats, there's nothing that they do in a ring that is remotely impressive.
Their moveset definitely dwindled down from when they first started.
Well, I don't even mean the Usos. I'm talking about all of them. They don't wrestle enough. It's like, you know what it's like? It's like watching fucking WCW in 1998.
Wow.
Because the NWO was the ticket, and they never wrestled ever. Every time you saw Nash and Hall, and I love Nash and Hall. I clearly love Nash and Hall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Every fucking time you saw Nash and Hall, it was a DQ. Every single time. Or some sort of weird cattle prod interference. Or they just went in the ring and assaulted everyone. That was that was their gimmick every single night. They were literally just a gang that beat up people, but never really wrestled. And that's the whole NOI clan right now. None of them actually wrestle. Like, even during the Royal Rumble, I don't know. I can't tell the difference between Jimmy and Jay. I want to say Jimmy's the heel right now and Jay's the good guy.
Jay has the shorter hair. Yeah.
Jay's the face.
Yeah.
He's the heel. Jimmy laughed for just 90% of the Rumble. Did he even fucking fight? He was there for a while. He was there for 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes in the Rumble. But a lot of the time, he's just standing around and then high-fiving other guys. Like,
I mean, he was in there for a while because we started that drinking game for the men's Rumble. And every
time they did a super kick. It's not a super kick. It's a mid kick. I won't call it
the
super.
mid kick.
Super kicks put people down.
But back to Cody. You know, he did all that. And the part that really got me, and if The Rock was going to be the referee, they had the perfect time to do it on SmackDown. Because when Cody said, "I had you, you cheated me," you know, so
you had
now,
me. You never had me. You never had your belt.
So now Cody could be like, so now I need some backup. I need some support. So you have Solo, you have Jimmy, you have Paul, you have the Bloodline in your corner. So I have someone in my corner, and while they may not be from my bloodline, they are from yours.
Nah,
you smell.
No,
The
I
Rock
don't-
comes out.
I don't like that. No, I wouldn't have booked that. Simply because you want the ambiguity of who is he representing in this match, and is he impartial? That's what I would go for, because that's the real question. Like, so The Rock's out there. If The Rock is the special guest referee, right? Which now at this point we know he's not. But let's say he was. Would you want to know outright that he was rooting for Cody to start, or would you want to be like, oh wait, is he going to go for the family? Or is he going to do the right thing? And then in the end, when he does the right thing, you're sitting there going, oh my God, he just screwed over. And then you could go into a whole storyline over about how he screwed over a family.
If The Rock didn't cut that promo about where he wants to sit and it should it be at the head of the table, then I would go with what you're saying. But the fact that The Rock was already pretty much saying that he's coming for Roman, by Cody saying, hey, I reached out to some counsel, I got Rock in my corner, you have the Bloodline in your corner. But to me,
But then at that point, you flip it and Cody loses because of The Rock. And he doesn't finish the story at WrestleMania. And at that point, Roman continues on as champion, right? Because I'm watching the next pay-per-view. The next pay-per-view is matter of fact, the next pay-per-view is I somehow create a rift between Rock and Roman at that point. They set it up wrong in the first place.
Yeah.
Or Rock screws over Cody, right? Hear me out. Rock screws over Cody. And then after, Rock turns to Roman and goes, well, you got your moment. And now it's time to hand over the belt to the guy that got you there.
Right.
That creates the rift in the bloodline. And then you go triple threat next pay-per-view or next live event, premium live event, whatever they're calling it in 2024.
The problem with that is that's if you have The Rock long term. I don't see The Rock on TV after the Monday after the Raw after Mania.
All right, listen.
I don't see The Rock.
You don't need to give me the people's eyebrow when you fucking say it. All right. Yeah, because you were just doing it. I don't know if I could rewind that. You were literally like,
dude, no, I don't know. It's like I think it's happening subconsciously when I'm talking, because even when I started doing my new segment, a joint and a point, half the time my fucking eyebrows like this, and I'm like, okay.
You hear that, folks? Look for Matt's segment, a joint and a point.
Hey, it only had one episode, but it's picking up steam, and I'm liking it.
Let's do it.
I have to thank you guys from Beer and a Take. You know,
Beer and a Take.
You know, but now it's just like long term and random rather than just during the holidays. But I feel like the way they did this on SmackDown made Cody look like a chump. Looked like a chump. You got to find that clip of Bart Simpson going. He like just put so much on it that's what I think of now when I see Cody. It's that, dude, you won the Rumble back to back.
You got cucked.
And now you're like, hey, I don't want to face you, Roman. Like, listen, it's so early though. It's so early. Anything
Brother,
could happen.
that's like getting married and then telling some other guy, "Hey, you're gonna bang my wife so we can have good-looking kids."
Yeah, that's weird.
He got
It's just, like,
cucked.
it's weird. Yeah.
Flat out got cucked. They were like, they basically told Cody, "You ain't gonna draw like The Rock's gonna draw at Mania, so you're not gonna headline Mania."
And that's the one thing that I'm torn, because like I feel bad for Cody in a way, because I get what it's like to bust your ass all year, work hard on something, being told that, hey, we see what you're doing, this is what you're in line for. And then right before you're about to get it, the rug is ripped out from under you. So I get that. If you go back and watch, once The Rock comes out, Cody's face, his whole demeanor, it's like you could see that he's bothered by this. People are saying it's a work, that it's going to end up being a triple threat. If that's the case, the way they did it was just, it's weird. It's just like, I don't understand it. They could have did something like for WrestleMania 20 when Benoit won the Rumble. He jumped from SmackDown to Raw, said he's coming after Triple H. But Shawn Michaels was like, listen, Benoit, I got my own thing going on. You're going to have to wait in line. And then Shawn came out during the contract signing. He gave what is sweet chin music to Benoit. Laid him out.
A real super kick.
Right, a real super kick, the originator. And then he signed the contract. Like, I felt like there were so many different ways they could have went about this. And I'm a big proponent of let it play out. Like, when I see people on Twitter lose their fucking minds over stuff, I'm like, it's February what? 7th?
Just
WrestleMania is 2 months away.
Think of it this way, right? If you sat there and gave up after the Royal Rumble, then you only saw Cody win. And you don't even get to see The Rock the next day. And if you heard the pop when he came out,
always.
The pop was amazing. I watched it the next day because I couldn't hear it in the bar. The pop was incredible. It sucked that he walked into the ring and didn't fucking say anything for the final 3 minutes of the show. And they just stared at each other like by the way, I don't know if you've ever seen a Brahma bull, but it looks nothing like The Rock told us it did.
No.
it's really sad, actually. Anyway, but point being is that you got to let it play out because, we still don't know what's going to happen, right? I mean, that's the whole point of this story. You don't know what's going to happen. And right. Just when you think you do, it probably does because it's Disney now. But that's not the point.
Tomorrow,
by the way, folks, I just want to point out that I know that WWE is not owned by Disney. When I say that it is Disney now, I mean overly PC and PG. That's what I mean by Disney.
Yeah. I'm thinking more. I don't know if you watched Raw, but Raw didn't really give us anything as to where they're going for Mania. Because they're really milking the shit out of Seth Rollins begging Cody Rhodes to pick me. He's like, pick me, pick me. And Cody, every time Cody's about to make his decision, he gets interrupted. So I'm thinking that somehow, some way, and like the problem is I'm so torn because The Rock versus Roman is a WrestleMania main event. That's it.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem. It was last year's WrestleMania main event.
You know what? I would even go to say that it should have been 2 years ago.
Wait, hold on. When it was in Hollywood?
Roman?
When it was in Hollywood?
Was that last year?
Was that 2 years ago or last year? Whenever it was in LA and it was in Hollywood and they were pushing that big Hollywood friggin', like the whole thing was Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's when it should have been Rock versus Roman. And if it was 2 years ago, damn it, that motherfucker should have lost that belt 2 years ago.
I'm checking it right now. Let me see. When were they in? They were in SoFi.
I think that was last year.
Were they in SoFi last year? This is terrible. I feel like I should know this.
Why are you high right now? That's why you can't Google search this shit.
No, it's I'm checking it now, but it's just my setup like is terrible.
2023. Why? What possibly could have happened that you took that long to fucking Google search?
Because I was getting confused. I was mixing up
I got it. You have a
this
Mac.
match
You have
should
a
have
Mac.
happened.
You have a Mac computer. I got it.
Yeah, I hate it. Don't get me started on it.
WrestleMania 39, April 1st and 2nd, SoFi Stadium, 2023.
Then the Rock match would have been perfect for Hollywood, but it also should have happened when it was Brock versus Roman for the unification of the belts. Because at that point, Roman didn't have any. Roman plowed through everybody. There was no one for Roman to challenge. So that would have been the time for it. But in my opinion, as a Rock fan, unless Cody is going to beat Roman Reigns, there's no reason to have that match at WrestleMania. And if you're not going to do it, Rock versus Roman, honestly, I feel with the names alone, saves WrestleMania by not having CM Punk and Brock Lesnar. So I think that's what they're looking at. But then it's like, we just don't know. And I feel like that's the best part about this. You know, tomorrow is the press conference in Vegas. Cody, Rock, and Roman are all going to be there. So we may get some more details onto what's happening, but it's great that we don't know. We have the hashtags. We want Cody. We want Rocky.
I'm waiting for the Die Rocky Die hashtags.
I'd rather the Die Rocky Die hashtags than these marks who can't separate reality from fiction, to where they're sending death threats to The Rock. They're sending death threats to his daughter, to where she's deactivating her Twitter account.
You know, like I think, like, listen, it's one thing to pick on somebody because of who they are on the show. Like, I'm borderline okay with that, right? Right. Like, if somebody does something on the show, kayfabe, and you come out on Twitter and you're like, "Fuck you" for doing what you did on the show, you're really not attacking the individual. You're attacking their character, because that's a character that they play. If you ever see the movie A Low Down Dirty Shame, there's a scene where Jada Pinkett, when she had hair, goes up to a soap opera star that she loves, and she punches him in the face because of something that he did on the show, right?
Yeah.
It's somewhat acceptable to a certain degree, not really because you assaulted the man, but I understand your disdain for that individual, right? So I can see like crapping on The Rock on his Twitter page for something that happened on during the show. But like his daughter, his daughter had nothing to do with it. If you want to sit there and say she's ugly, okay, that's fine. I do it all the time. She's ugly. She is. She's a fucking hideous girl. It's not her fault. For some reason, she's like Arnold Schwarzenegger, or excuse me, she's Danny DeVito in Twins, because her mother is gorgeous and her father is a mountain of a man, and she got like the worst of their genes and came out like as this weird amalgam of like just ugly. She's not a pretty woman at all. So I'm actually not upset that she deactivated her account, because now I can see her face less, because she's not pretty. She's an ugly girl. And there's nothing wrong. Listen, there's nothing wrong with being ugly. There's nothing wrong with being ugly. But when you work in a field where typically you're supposed to be good looking, like that's tough. Like if you're a model, imagine Zoolander was fucking fugly. You know, like
I saw someone say,
she's not a large Viking or awesome Kong styled wrestler, so she's not supposed to be physically intimidating or strong, because she's not. If you're going to be ugly, at least be strong.
The problem is that she looks like her dad. She's a woman that looks like
that is the problem. She just looks like the Pebble.
I would not want to run into the Rock's daughter or Brock's daughter in a dark alley. No way.
You know, here's the difference, though. Brock's daughter is actually strong.
Right. But also,
Aiden's not.
But she looks like Brock. That's the problem.
Well, she looks like Brock. I wouldn't want to run into her in a closet, okay? Like 7 seconds in heaven. Yeah, we're not doing that.
Bro, you're getting an F5.
But
I heard someone say about the Rock's daughter, and this is so mean, but he said that every time she talks, it looks like her teeth are falling out of her mouth. And now that's like, there's something I can't unsee that.
Oh, because she has horse teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason I don't like horse teeth. I don't like people when they talk, they look like this.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Doing good? I don't like that. No,
That's a lot of gum.
It's gummy. It's like
the tooth to gum ratio is extremely off.
Tooth to gum ratio. I used to use that all the time back in the day.
Yeah.
Thank you. Tooth to gum ratio. Awful. But I digress. We're not talking about Ava and her ugly face. We're talking about The Rock and his position in WrestleMania, its effect on wrestling. And I still think that there's still room. Like, WrestleMania is a ways away. It's not tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's still some story to tell.
There's plenty of story to tell, and people are jumping to conclusions so much that, Elimination Chamber is in Australia and it is February 24th. That's
a great pay-per-view too. Let's give an Elimination Chamber the respect that it deserves. Shawn Michaels won his first World Heavyweight Championship belt at Elimination Chamber. It's some doo-doo brown fucking pants coming back for the first time seriously, right? Because the previous time he came back, he was wearing jeans. That doesn't count. For the first time seriously, new Christian man in doo-doo brown fucking tights and a bob. I don't know what the fuck he was doing with that bob, and a bob. And he won his first World Heavyweight Championship belt. And I don't think anybody thought Shawn was going to win at an Elimination Chamber.
No. And this was around the time where we were watching to where there were no dirt sheets. There was no Twitter. What, MySpace, I think, was the only thing.
MySpace.
Really?
We were on MySpace a lot.
Right. So, that's when it was good. That's when wrestling was great. There was no social media. There were no spoilers. There
were dirt sheets on actual sheets.
Yeah. You had to get that shit mailed. Fucking Dave, good old Dave was emailing that.
Meltzer?
Meltzer, yeah, there you go. Fucking Meltzer was emailing that shit out, licking stamps, licking the envelopes. But, it's, to me, it's like going to watch Endgame, Avengers Endgame, and knowing what happens at the end. What's the point? Why sit there? Why sit there and watch it if you just want to know what happens? Sit back, shut the fuck up, and enjoy it. That's all you got to do. Sending death threats, The Rock just... Dude, I don't know if you caught it, but Ava Adams, who Ava Adams is, right? Right. She quote tweeted a post about The Rock saying that he only came back for the money and that we want Cody. This is how big that this is now. You got porn stars tweeting about The Rock and Cody Rhodes. It's we're at a point to where...
Well, it's not the first time a porn star has been invested in wrestling. Jenna Jameson,
I know Kendra Lust, she tweets Dolph Ziggler and all the time, but just
by the way, I love Dolph Ziggler. Bring him back.
Right.
Give him the right fucking respect that he deserves.
I agree. Here's
my thing. I had to sit there and watch fucking Ric Flair in his droopy drawers for fucking 15 years. In WWE, well, not 15 years, for 13 years in WWE.
Yeah.
At least fucking Nick Nemeth looks like he's in shape.
Right.
I take it back. At least Nick Nemeth is in shape.
He is in shape, and he could go.
He's not fucking 95 years old sexually assaulting women on fucking planes.
Are you talking about Vince or Ric Flair? Oh,
listen, I'm not going to get into Vince because my I don't want to ruin your show, and my position on Vince might offend people. But Ric Flair, it was definitely not appreciated what he did. And it was handled immediately. It wasn't handled fucking 4 years down the road or 3 years down the road. He sexually assaulted that woman. She filed a complaint immediately because it was not reciprocated. It was not appreciated. And it was not wanted. So that airline attendant did not sit there and go, he gave me money for 4 years, and I'm going to keep quiet for 4 years until he stops giving me money. Immediately, she was like, that motherfucker fucking ruined my life.
Yeah, I agree. But the We Want Cody, We Want Rocky, I think it's all good. And it's just sit back, and just see what happens. What I want to see, like, I'm torn. I don't think a triple threat match is something I want to see. I don't think I do. I don't know. I just don't know where it fits or like how it would make sense. And if you're doing a triple threat, what is
It doesn't.
Cody
It
gonna
doesn't
pin
fit
The
now.
Rock?
It doesn't fit now.
Right.
It fits if I don't know. It fits if Cody faces Roman at Mania with The Rock as special guest referee. Cody wins, and as a favor to The Rock, gives him a shot at the title, at which point Roman invokes his rematch clause. There it fits. I just fucking did it. I could do that job. I could do that job.
You know what we might get? I like that. You know what? It's similar to what happened at WrestleMania 9 when it was Yokozuna versus Bret Hart. Yoko cheated. Hogan, because, Hogan is a man of the people. Hogan came out for Bret's honor. Hogan came out and got that rematch, got a match right there. So what if we see something like that? What if Roman cheats, beats The Rock, and then Cody? But see, the thing is, though, if that happens, then it's like, will people say, oh, Cody only won because Roman had to wrestle twice? Or, like, what do they do? It's so, you know what I really do? Say it's not Cody in that match with Roman and Rock, and say it's Cody versus Seth. You know what I do? To continue to fuck with people, I have Cody beat Seth Rollins, and then Damian Priest cash in on Cody and win the belt.
You know what I have? I have Cody say, I'm not going to use my championship on you. But then have Seth say, well, I'm using my clause as champion to pick my opponent on you. And then Cody wins both belts in the same night.
That'd be crazy. Or night 1 and night 2.
Night 1, Cody wins against Seth. Night 2 says, hey, it's WrestleMania. I won the Royal Rumble. I get to pick. I'm wrestling the two of you. And he wins that triple threat match. And then as soon as he wins the triple threat match, Damian Priest says, well, I'm taking the other belt. And just watch the world implode.
See, that's
Did we just write WrestleMania?
How many scenarios did we just come up with within 45 minutes?
Like 4, 5.
And that's the best part about this. That's the point of wrestling.
Anything can happen.
Right.
And that's why we watch wrestling. Anything can happen.
You never know.
Except for in 2024, nobody's titties coming out. That's not happening.
On purpose, anyway.
On purpose. That's not happening.
Yeah.
Nobody's ass is coming out on purpose either. It's awful. It's an awful time to be alive.
I mean, some of these NXT chicks, and speaking of asses coming out, the person who's getting disrespected once again is my girl Bayley. She's in the ring the longest for the Royal Rumble, wins the Royal Rumble, has a great segment with Damage Control, which gave me hints of Batista and Evolution, back for WrestleMania 21. And Bayley's not even featured in the press conference. They got Bianca, who's not even the champion or won the Royal Rumble. Like, give Bayley her flowers. She deserves it. She's put the work in, and she's been disrespected the past 3 WrestleManias, I want to say. Give her flowers. I want to see Bayley. She's got a dunk. Just showcase these people that deserve it.
Your segue would have been better when we were talking about Ava being ugly. Could have segued over to Bayley, who is also a butterface.
I don't mind Bayley. I don't mind
Bayley. Looks like a Hispanic version of Maggie Gyllenhaal, where she looks like an old lady trapped in a young woman's body.
Maggie
Her
Gyllenhaal.
face looks like an old lady's face, but trapped in a young woman's body because she looks like this. Where her cheeks are too close to her eyes and they look like.
The worst part about Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy was that they replaced Katie Holmes with
I know.
Terrible. But you're right. that is pretty funny. Has anything else gone on that you wanna discuss, or am I eating dinner?
Can we talk about real quick? We missed the week for Rumble, but let's talk about how Rumble only had 4 fucking matches.
I was not impressed with this Royal Rumble.
Where you could, I wasn't either. Usually you bring back somebody who's had a long layoff. If they were to bring back Ziggler, or they were to bring back fucking Jericho, which is not going to happen, but if it were to happen, or something like that, or Austin fucking came, like usually like a legend comes back for a fucking, a quick fucking peak, or the guy that been injured for fucking 8 months, they come back and they make their return. We saw it happen with Cena. We were there.
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden, what, 2009, 2008? 2008, we were there. And Cena made his return, and Flair was awful against MVP. But I didn't just go to that match and watch a popcorn match of women playing WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, which was by the way, the women's, other than like the final like 3 women that were in the ring, the women's Royal Rumble was awful. It was boring. There was nothing special about it. They should have had Sable, but they can't because she's married to Brock. They should have had Tori Wilson. They should have had Lita. They should have had somebody come out. Well, Molly Holly, anyone.
They had Naomi came back.
They could have had, yeah, but I don't give a fuck.
That's fair.
It's a popcorn match. I go get a beer when the women start wrestling because I know nobody's ass is coming out.
It's funny.
Like I watch wrestling to watch the unbelievable. It's like watching midget wrestling. Am I allowed to say midget? Can I say midget?
Yeah, I think so. Can you? I mean, you did it, so
it's like watching little people wrestle. It's like watching little people wrestle. It's like, all right, I came to watch a giant man assault another giant man. I didn't come to watch people that are smaller than me run around.
So you rather see giant men touch each other than a bunch of women touch each other?
Yeah, pretty much. If there were like, I'd rather watch giant men throw each other through tables for certain. Throw each other 5 feet to the ground. True. I don't want to watch women throw elbows at each other and stuff like. It's not even a proper cat fight where they grab their hair and like clothes come out. I'll watch that every day. If they had mud wrestling and if it was the Royal Rumble mud wrestling match, I'd watch that every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
You're gonna have to go to Peacock for that and just go.
Not even. All I got to do is go watch Natalia and her sister. It's It's right there. It's right there, and I love them for it.
To me, it's weird because they're sisters. If they were like best friends, great, but like sisters, it's like why are your titties touching each other? Like for me, it's just like kind of like how Lacey Evans and.
Do you have titties?
Do I have titties?
Yeah.
No.
So you don't know what it's like for a titty to touch another titty and whether or not it's sexual or not.
Well,
so how about you keep your male opinion about what women do with their titties to yourself?
Listen, they can do whatever they want. All I'm saying is, to me, it looks weird how they're like
very judgmental.
They're like titty bopping each other. So
nothing wrong with that. It's just sisterly love.
Anyway, the Rumble. I saw a lot of people on the Twitter say that the women's Rumble was the best match of the night, and then I was looking. I was like, what Rumble were you watching? Like for me, and I agree with you. Like there's surprises, and I don't know if it's because I just said it for so long that I had it in my head. But I'm like, The Rock's going to be number 30, and then I had number 30
that for the entire match.
And then I had 30 in the pool, and it's Sami fucking Zayn.
That was a fucking letdown. That was a letdown.
Bro, I'd rather Punk or Cody be 30, or someone big. Like what? But whatever.
We could have had fucking Vince come out and be 30.
I don't think that would have happened.
I tell you right now, the whole fucking world would have exploded if Vince came out as number 30.
Yeah. I want to say like the feed would have been cut. Like Peacock would have been like, yeah, we're killing the feed right now. Can't have this guy. But this was a great show. I feel like we may have more answers after tomorrow's press conference for what's going to happen with Mania. And I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the ride. My thing with The Rock is it's kind of like Taylor Swift. I like Taylor Swift. It started even before it came out. She was dating Kelsey. I would see people at her concerts, and it just looked like a good time where everybody was in one location, one spot, and just having fun. And I was like, you know what? That seems like something cool to experience. So, and then she started dating Kelsey. She started going to the games, and everyone started losing their fucking minds. And it made me like her even more because, let's be real, who's honestly sitting down on a Sunday and watching a full Chiefs game? You're not. You're watching Red Zone. Or I feel like, they're watching Red Zone. I'm a Giants fan. I have Red Zone on every Sunday.
I'll be honest with you. If I'm watching, I don't have Red Zone. So if I'm watching a game that day and I'm with if I'm by myself, I only watch my team's game and that's it. If I'm with a group of people, we're watching the whole game of every game that's on that day.
Right. Same.
Because I don't have Red Zone. I'm poor. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm sorry. You can come over when football comes back. I'll have a few Red Zone Sundays at the house and we could just chill and watch Taylor Swift all day. But to be honest, like, you're sitting there, you're watching the game, kind of like you said, you're with your buddies, you're eating, you're drinking. Who gives a shit if Kelsey scores a touchdown or makes a big play and they show his girl cheering for him?
Yeah, well, no. Here's the problem. Here's the problem is that when you're watching Red Zone, you're seeing more Taylor Swift than you are DeAndre Swift. That's the problem.
I see DeAndre Swift.
It's like imagine
on my fantasy team.
What was the WrestleMania where Sean came out with Pamela Anderson?
11.
It was 11. Yes, it was 11.
Yeah.
They didn't show her. They showed her a few times during that WrestleMania. Right. They didn't show her more than any other wrestler on the ticket.
Okay. But
Taylor Swift gets more TV time than the offensive lineman that's actually playing.
Right, but this doesn't, like, it's not like you see, it's not like they're like this on Taylor. Wow,
yes.
But what I'm saying is, though,
it's whenever her boyfriend touches the ball.
Right, but it's after the play's done.
You know what? Like I would be okay with it. I would be okay with it if she was an actual fan. She probably has no idea about anything about football, and she's just cheering when everybody else does.
What if she became a fan because of
again? If she was a real fan, if she's Spike Lee, who's at every Knick game, and they don't show him nearly as much as they show Taylor Swift, all right, then I would be okay with it. She's a Chiefs fan because she's from KC or wherever she's from, or she's a Chiefs fan because she's a front runner and she's rooting for the Chiefs now. I'm okay with that. But she's a wag. She's a wag. She shouldn't be shown. She should be shown at the beginning of the game, at halftime, and at the end of the game. And that's it. Did Tori Wilson used to date A-Rod?
Yeah.
They didn't show Tori Wilson every time A-Rod got a hit.
That's true.
Or every time A-Rod threw to first base. And people will sit there and say, oh, well, A-Rod's not as or Tori Wilson's not as popular as Taylor Swift. Well, I've seen Tori Wilson naked, and she's better than Taylor Swift. Okay? I'll let everybody know right now. There's nothing Taylor Swift does that's better than what Tori Wilson used to do naked. Like, Tori Wilson just being naked is 99% better than everything Taylor Swift has ever done. Taylor Swift is the CM Punk of singers. She's popular because she's mid. Because she's mid. She's average. She's the every woman. She is.
Attack the Swifties.
Every girl can go in their car and listen to Taylor Swift and sing along, and they can hit every note because she's not that great a singer. She's not the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. She's average at best as far as beauty is concerned.
She's a great performer.
And she cannot dance, so she's not a great performer. She can't dance worth a goddamn. She can't dance. She can't two-step. She's a great performer. She's not Beyonce. She's not Madonna. She can't sing like Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston. She's average at everything. She's very average at everything. And because she's average at everything and not special at anything, just like CM Punk.
She's a billionaire.
She's a billionaire because all of the basic white girls love her. She is pumpkin spice and infinity scarves incarnate. And all the girls can sing along. All the girls can sing along. That's why they like her. She is karaoke. That's what she is. And there's nothing wrong with that. She does it well. Just like CM Punk. He goes to the ring. He puts on a show. He doesn't hurt anybody. That's what you're supposed to do. But he ain't 6'6". He ain't jumping off turnbuckles. He's not the best I ever saw at anything. Same thing with Daniel Bryan. Not the best I ever saw at anything. Very average. Just like over the top average, like the best average person I ever saw. And that's Taylor Swift. Again, Tori Wilson is better at being naked than Taylor Swift is at anything. Tori, like, and they didn't show Tori.
That's the clip.
And they didn't show Tori Wilson every time A-Rod touched the baseball.
Right. All right. Well, the point I was making was that the hate Taylor Swift gets and the hate The Rock is getting makes me enjoy it more in a way for how uptight people are getting, especially with The Rock. You know, like they were chanting Rocky sucks on Raw, but
bring back Die Rocky Die.
I want to say those chants lasted 2 minutes and it was maybe 50 people doing it.
Bring back Die Rocky Die. Bring it back.
I hope not, because The Rock is going to WrestleMania. We think. Who knows? We'll find out more tomorrow with the press conference. And we'll have more to talk about next time. So I appreciate everybody that watched, everyone that comments, everyone that is a subscriber and a follower. Continue to do so. And we will have more to talk about because it's WrestleMania season, and before you know it, it's going to be WrestleMania. So enjoy the ride, enjoy the show. Don't be a jabroni, and don't take it too far. And we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.